I gotta wait? How long I gotta wait for a press record?
Go.
Welcome to the shed, where Miss Dream always has a story.
It's Dream, and we got a season 2. Your Black Bostonian here, a product of a single mother who I work to make proud every single day. I'm a 3-degree holder, your veteran educator, your tech entrepreneur, and founder of the Chair platform. My platform is dedicated to supporting Black and Brown people on their hair journey by creating hair boards, connecting to hairstylists, and sharing haircare tips for a more joyous experience. My podcast is about sharing hair stories, educator stories, entrepreneurship stories, and stories surrounding identity with goals to leave you laughing, learning, and advocating. So come in and listen to the stories in the chair.
Where we share stories in the chair.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Sarah. Sarah, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Spoto. I'm the founder of Badii. It's Badii. It's a Swiss-inspired wellness brand, and the host of Badii Talk, where we talk about spas and saunas and bathing culture from all over the world. And what I'm trying to do is create this beautiful, inclusive bathing experience for everyone here in North America.
Switching gears a little bit, we've been talking a lot about this identity as a bather, as a person who can redefine what luxury means and what access you have to it. And I'm curious to dig deeper into your white identity. My podcast opens up room for conversations surrounding hair, which ends up into all of these other lanes, and sometimes the lanes start in other identities. So I'm curious to know, when was the first time you noticed that you were white?
Yeah, I think the first time for me was when I was a kid. So, for context, my mom was a civil rights attorney in Chicago. And so she was really intentional about making sure that we were educated. And so we had a picture book growing up. So, one of the first picture books I ever remember her reading us was the Ruby Bridges picture book. I don't exactly remember the title because I think there's a few of them, but the one that was popular in the 90s was the one that I'm thinking about. And I remember the cover so vividly. And so for those who don't know, the story of Ruby Bridges, she was the first Black person to, attend an all-white elementary school. I think it was in Louisiana, when integration was happening for the schools in the US. And the story goes over how, she's walking to school. I think she's only like 6 years old, so really young kid. And she walks through this tunnel of white people who are basically like booing at her and yelling at her and spitting at her like a child. And I just remember the faces of some of these white women on the pages. They just look like suburban moms, which they probably were. And it was just so filled with so much hate. But I think that was a discussion when I was a kid of race very explicitly and identity, because I was obviously not Ruby, right? I was like more in line with the people who were treating her poorly as she walked into school. So it was, so I think that was the first time I think there was like a conscious understanding of like race for me, and the fact that I am white, and in the context of history, what does that mean? And in the story of Ruby Bridges, I learned what that meant.
Yeah, like Ruby is still alive. She's 70 now.
I know, she's not that old. Yeah.
And so when people talk about history, it doesn't necessarily have to be so far, right? History happens every day. It's so current, even though it's something that happened in the past. So I lived in Guangzhou, China, and you lived in Shanghai.
Yeah.
Did you feel that you were having conversations about identity while you were there?
Yes, definitely. Because you really stick out as a foreigner.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously not everybody does, but you and I do because of how we look. So, and it's a different experience. Like I have a friend who's of Chinese heritage, and she's had a very different experience because she wasn't recognized as a foreigner. And there's pros and cons to that too in her experience. But yeah, for sure. And it does put you in an uncomfortable place because like generally for me as a white person, like I would say the reaction's quite positive towards me. Like people want to take pictures with me and I'll get like compliments on my nose, which I don't usually get. So like I'm like, okay. But it makes you think, it's uncomfortable. I say it's uncomfortable because while it feels, oh, it's sweet and don't think that it's coming from a good place probably, you're like, oh, there's this just like underlying feeling of like where this is coming from, colonization, and also how American culture, white American culture specifically in the media, and how it's there's just a kind of puts you face to face with that. Like you're not getting complimented for a reason that feels good, but on the flip side, you're like, I know my friends who are people of color who lived in China had very different experiences, which could be more negative. So on one hand, you're like, okay, I'm glad it's positive. But on the other hand, you know where that's coming from, and that's not a positive thing. So yeah, for sure. I mean, I think I was just consciously more aware that I'm a foreigner when I was in China, but it also fueled my desire to speak Mandarin and to make local friends and to learn and be a part of the culture as much as possible as well.
Did you ever have conversations about race and identity with the local friends that you were making at the time?
Oh, yes, definitely I did. My roommate from Lake Forest is Chinese. And so we met a lot as well. And we actually had those conversations even when I was a student at Lake Forest. But yeah, I think I felt like in some ways it was easier to have a conversation about race with my Chinese friends than some of my friends in the States, because I think my Chinese friends, this generalization obviously, but like came at it from a point of curiosity, like strongly from curiosity and kind of a desire to like talk and understand. And so that made it easier to talk about. But yeah, we did.
Where we share stories in the chair.
Look, it's my commercial. We will be right back.
It's more than just a bad hair day. It's a journey. Finding the right hairstyle isn't easy, nor is finding the right stylist or the right products. Looking in every corner of the web gets messy, overwhelming, and exhausting. All the ads, the articles, the products, the videos, it shouldn't be this hard, but it is. And now, it isn't. The Chair. A black and brown centered platform where you can design hair boards, connect to hairstylists, and share hair care tips for a new, joyful path on your hair journey. Avoid the clutter, save yourself hours, months, and even years of research and poor trial and error. Everything you need and only what you need is in one place. Hair boards made by people like you, for you. Find the right products, the right people, the right answers for you, stress-free. Join the Chair community and make every day a great hair day. When you share your pain, you allow others to help you. And when you share your success, you help others get theirs. Lean on the Chair. We got you. No stress, no strife. In the chair, the chair, the chair. All right.
It's so interesting because when I lived in Guangzhou, so for context, the three biggest cities are Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou. But everybody where I was, everybody would call Shanghai the New York City
Yeah.
of China. And in my neighborhood, we had a very like diverse cluster of foreigners. And so I would have a lot of conversations with the white foreigners who were from the US, who were from Canada, and then there were
Interesting.
then there were all these other black and brown people from the UK, from Yemen, and then I had Latinx people from Costa Rica and Brazil, and we would talk, but it was always they were always very clear because they were noticing that my experiences were even a little more extreme. Like I'll always remember it was me and my friend. He was from the UK originally. From his family was from Yemen, and so he was caramel skin tone, and I am like a dark chocolate skin tone. And we are walking in the train. He goes, "Dream, I get stares," but he said, "You really get stares." And we ended up having this conversation, and he says, "How do you just ignore it?" I was like, "I'm very aware of it, but if I hold on to it, then I won't be able to process. I won't be able to come at it from a space of curiosity because I'm only coming at it from anger and disappointment." But we would have these intense conversations with each other to recognize that, hey, our existence were different. And I felt like that was different than a lot of people in the States, a lot of white people in the States, because they felt like they could never see race in action.
I see.
It created a different barrier. It created less empathy. And with you, do you feel that you've been able to extend more empathy when you came back to the States, when it came to conversations of race, because of your experiences in China?
Yes, I think so. I think maybe I haven't like reflected too much about that specific question, but what I have reflected on is the experience of being like a foreigner or just someone who is not part of the majority in a space, and just being more like aware of that and also empathetic about that as well. Like I think I always had respect for like, immigrants in America, but now I really, really do, because it's just, and we don't make it easy in the States. And there's just like, there's so many moments as a foreigner in a space where you're in the minority, where it's just really uncomfortable over and over and over again, and like, I think probably there's parallels to that, to being a person of color in the States. So like what I mean, for example, is there, at least I'll speak from it from a white person perspective. Like I see parallels to me being in my home country of America and the ease of that, to having white privilege and the ease of white privilege. And so going to another country and being a foreigner and feeling uncomfortable over and over again, either because you're exposed with the language that you're learning and you still don't feel comfortable with, or because you're obviously a foreigner, that's a certain state of mind that it puts you in, and a level of stress that, and kind of a state that you're in all the time. And maybe there's some parallel there between the ease that comes from white privilege as well. So yeah, I hope I articulated that okay. I've never like articulated, but I hope you know what I mean, or do you, I guess, is the question.
For me, what I hear you saying is being able to point to what white privilege looks like. That's how it comes across to me.
I think just like being more aware, because I guess the thing is, for a lot of white people, they don't see the privilege, right? Because you're just living your life and you're like, and you hear this all the time, like, well, my life is not easy. I don't think anybody's life is really easy, but like, so you don't see what makes it, where the privilege is coming from. But when you're in a different scenario, right, living as a foreigner in another country, I think you just are more aware of what the privileges are and how your road has been made easier for you.
Yeah, I definitely feel that as an American who travels abroad often. So far, I've been to 24 countries. And I didn't really know what an American was until I left. In America, I know I'm an American.
Yes, I feel the same way, by the way. keep talking. Tell me what you mean.
In America, I knew I was American. First thing is I'm black. I'm a black American, so I'm an African American. And so then when I went internationally, they're like, oh, you're American. Black wasn't always put first. And so I was like, okay. I was in Thailand and I was at my hostel to the roof. The roof had a little rooftop bar and a little pool. And I sat down at the bar, like something very small. I sat down at the bar and I was sitting there for a while. There was no bartender, but the bar was open. And I was like,
yeah.
Okay. So then I'm like starting to ask around and be like, hey, do I have the time wrong? And the guy was like, oh, you're American. I said, yeah. He goes, you're going to learn different things here. Time is not rushed here. People do things on their own time. And I said, okay. But I was like, okay, there's an expectation I have that is not going to be met. And when I recognized it wasn't going to be met, I started looking for an answer. And the answer, they said, no, there's no answer. So then I have to internally be like, okay, I have to be careful in terms of my frustration. Like, why are you frustrated? Oh, because things aren't moving at this pace. Why is that dream? Oh, because in America, we move at pace number 3005 and we really should be moving at 3. Like, chill out.
Yeah.
Like, I always remember I needed to get a train from Chiang Mai to Bangkok to catch a plane back to China. And the hostel said, oh, we'll drop you off. No problem. I said, okay, cool. I said, hey, I need to be on time. So I need to leave on time. And I said that. They're like, yeah, fine. No problem. I said, okay, can you pick me up at this time? And then I'll get there. It'll be fine. So I was picked up on time, but they dropped off like 5 people before me.
Oh my God.
And so I was late, but I didn't have my watch on me. So I had my times wrong and I missed my train. And the people who dropped me off said, you're fine. It's fine. And I said, no, this is not fine. Like, I missed my train. I have to catch this plane. So I'm throwing a fit. I'm upset. I'm frustrated. And in Thailand, Thai people, they don't show outward anger because it's a sign of disrespect. It's really, it's rude. So me panicking and rising and my voice getting louder was not making the situation better. But I kept doing it because that was like my response, being like, hey, I tried this. I explained this. I did this. Their nonchalantness was a trigger for me because I wasn't feeling seen. Because I fussed so bad, I eventually got on a different train and they were like, just get her out so she can stop screaming. But I was like, wow, this is what an American is. Like, this is what it is. Like, this intensity, this expectation. So when I started learning those things about time, expectations, demands, I was like, oh yeah, we demand things. We expect things.
Yes.
I said, oh.
We expect a certain level of service. That's very American. That's so true because I think, like, for me, I completely agree with you because I think I guess, like, I never really understood what American culture was until I left America. And, you know, there's, like, I get, because you're so in it, right? You don't know what's, like, a general human, like, quote unquote human culture thing or, like, an American culture thing. Like, you don't really know that until you're exposed to more cultures and you realize, like, oh, there's the pattern of what makes American.
Oh, and if you're interested to learn more about my experiences as a Black woman and educator in Guangzhou, China, I wrote my first ebook titled Nowhere and Everywhere, Captured Emotions of a Beautifully Broken Love Story. It is on lulu.com. Take a read and see some beautiful photography of mine. Enjoy the rest of the show.
But I'm curious, I have a question for you.
Please.
Because I feel like, having lived abroad in a few places now, like, I have a lot more respect for America, and I mean that in a really positive way. What I mean is, like, I know. I know I have to, like, I mean that, I do mean it in a positive. But what I mean is, like we're such an absolutely diverse country that it's so truly unique. I mean, I know there are diverse countries out there, but it is a unique American attribute. And, like, some of the things, I'm just like, I just appreciate some of the things about America more, having lived outside of it.
Like
I
what?
mean, not to say that I don't. Well, okay, like, for example, because I just came from living in Switzerland, and the Swiss people are lovely, and I love how on time they are and stuff like that. But, like, like, Americans, in contrast, like, we just know how to have fun. Like, we just have fun. And, like, yes, we're a little louder and we'll laugh more, but I just like that. I just love the energy. When there's an American at a happy hour in Switzerland, it, like, the energy changes. And, like, that's like a small thing, but, like, I appreciate that. And I think that that's, like, an American attribute. So I'm curious if you felt that way, or maybe you felt the opposite way, or, like, did it change how you thought about America, having lived outside of it?
Did it change how I thought about America? Yes. I think there are certain appreciations I have for my Americanness, but being abroad so much and living abroad in different countries has shown me the beauty of people everywhere, and
Yeah.
how America is so egotistical that we aren't exposed enough to the beauty of everyone else. That's, for me, that's like number one, is America needs to do better. In terms of appreciations, for me, I recognize that systems have power. Systems
Yes. Yes.
systems will show you how things work. And I feel that America, with all its systemic racism, it shows the power of how it works for me. And I think I appreciate the fact that I can see that very clearly now, because I've lived in other countries, but also living in China. When you go to that airport, your stuff has to be clean. Your stuff can't be all over the place. All the shit that I had thrown away because I wasn't packed properly in Chinese airports, they work on such an intense system. And so for me, I'm like, okay, I'm a better packer now because of living in China. But living in Thailand, hanging out in Thailand, I became a more relaxed person. I started focusing more on every step I took, every walk I took, because of the pacing of the entire country. Because living in Tanzania, East Africa, I learned that my definition of kindness and sweetness was not really grounded enough in sweetness. For me, Tanzanian people, in my experience when I was there, they gave you anything. Was struggling, they took their shirt off their back. They didn't question it. It wasn't, will I get this back? It wasn't
Transactional.
not transactional. Like, I learned that, my kindness in an American context is very transactional.
Yeah. That's such a good point.
Yeah, and Tanzania taught me, no, kindness can be communal. And so for me, every country that I've visited, I feel like I learned something new about myself. I feel that the person I've become and continue to be is better.
Yeah. And what really resonated to me about what you said was about the systems, and how travel, and especially, like, living abroad, like, reveals a lot about systems. Like, for example, when I was in Europe, you hear a lot of people say negative things about Americans, like, we're so fat, and, we eat unhealthy. And it's often framed from a morality standpoint. Like, Americans are so dumb, and, they don't have self-discipline, and so they eat unhealthy food. And they don't walk and they drive everywhere. And you're like, what you don't understand is that behavior is system informed, right? And like you learn that about other cultures as well. Like in China, why do people behave a certain way? Some of it is system informed. And I think it's important to start to dissect like let's stop applying like blanket morality statements, to certain cultures when we need to understand the systems that are having people behave or a certain way or be incentivized to behave a certain way, so or restricting people. So the system piece I think is so powerful because it makes you think about the other systems around the world and then also understand better the systems in America and how they affect people's lives as well.
Yeah. And I think a lot about the word diversity. I feel that as Americans, we use that word so frequently. But for me, every time someone uses the word diversity, I put an asterisk next to it. I feel like it's diversity, but it's conditional. I grew up in Boston, one of the most segregated cities in the United States. In my neighborhood, growing up in my neighborhood, it was extremely diverse. Not diverse just with one race either. I grew up with Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, Haitians, Jamaicans. I grew up with Cape Verdeans. I grew up with Vietnamese people, Chinese people. That was my neighborhood. However, when I went to high school over the bridge in Cambridge, 30 minutes from Hartford, I was one of 5 black kids at a private school, and my graduating class was 110 of us. That's not diverse at all. It's conditional. In the private school sector, oh man, my school was top tier. That's still less than 13%. It's small. And so when it comes to thinking about diversity in America, like people are like, oh, it's the melting pot. And some people are like, no, it's the salad bowl. And for me, I feel like it's a Lunchable. Right?
Oh, yeah.
That's how I see it now. If you want to mix, you can.
Yeah.
But you don't necessarily have to if you don't want to. And so you can grow up just not reading at all about Ruby Bridges. You can live your whole life and not even pick up the book, which is crazy. Or you can live your life reading every book under the sun about people who don't look like you.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, I've never thought about it that way. I think the coming from Switzerland, for what's like coming back to the States from Switzerland, that diversity piece did really struck me because Switzerland is quite homogenous. By the way, it's probably less homogenous than people think, though, actually. There are, people of different ethnicities in Switzerland. So I'm making a generalization. But probably to some extent that was just due to like my bubble or like, the diversity within my bubble or my community or whatever. And yeah, so that's just it. Thanks for sharing that because I think that that's it makes me think a different, how my experiences might be more informed on that than what it is for a lot of people.
It feels like every time we travel, we come back with more. Like my brain.
It's the best.
Yeah.
It's the best. Yes. And it's even better when you can just get a bathing session.
Hey, too. Let's go. Give me a bathing suit.
Wash your hair. New perspectives, clean hair. What else do you need?
Come on, and some chocolate. Just give me some chocolate.
Oh yeah. Especially if you're going to Switzerland. Oh my gosh, and some cheese. Let's just throw the cheese in there too.
Well, Sarah, thank you so much for sitting in the chair. I truly, truly appreciate it.
Thank you. This was such a great discussion. I'm not surprised. All your episodes go so deep and I always learn something. I learned something today. I hope your listeners do as well. But thank you so much for having me.
Welcome to the chair, where Miss Dream always has a story.
Thank you for listening to an episode of The Chair. I'm going to share with you a dream of mine. I would love to be on Sesame Street. Sesame Street held my hand through childhood. In my dream, I would be in my big afro or rainbow braids sitting on the stoop sharing hair stories. I would like your help, please, by doing all the things like leave a review, share it with someone who would benefit from hearing this episode. And if you know someone who knows someone who knows someone at Sesame Street, share your favorite episode with them and I'll make you some of my famous chocolatey hot chocolate. I hope you have a beautiful day, or if you are like me, still up in the middle of the night, I hope you take a deep breath and rest. Love you. Talk to you later.
Hello. Please leave a message after the tone.
Dream, hello. I just wanted to tell you you're wonderful. I just got through going through your podcast. Love you, love you, love you, love you. Keep it up. Maybe I need to send it to Oprah and Tyler Perry. Love you, baby. You are great.
Where we share stories in the chicken.